May 28th, 2026. Just want to go ahead and give a verbal clarification on turn of events. Had written this 2012, 2013, and in it I had listed certain topics. I'm going to read them really fast. Left side's interest, right side is the topics. Interest: physics, psychology, biology, neuroscience, enlightenment, economics, history, evolution, subliminal messaging, consciousness, subconsciousness, resonance, vocabulary, phobia, fears, mirrors, death, drowning. Hobbies: music production, inventing, researching, studying people. Dislike: math, labor, horses, eating. Favorite colors: purple, clear, black, orange. Top sports: soccer, hockey, volleyball, rugby. Top animals: dog, cow, pig, gorilla, rhino, chameleon, octopus, lightning bug, ants. Common emotions: humor, anger, precaution, sympathy. Okay, this like I said, this is back in like 2011, 2012, 2013. It's right. So it's right when I withdrawed out of college. But I had wrote this book. It's called Mind I See. But here's the topics. All right. Number 1, cows, CERN, capitalism, communism, infrasound, electromagnetic particle modulation, virtual reality, neurotransmission, imaging, waves, vibration, optics, reflection, refraction, zero-point energy, thermodynamics, systemizing, game of life, MK Ultra, human ownership, tax, HARP, DARPA, NWO, Occam's razor, C++, concepts, conditions, loops, data types, arrays, functions, class sets, objectives, inheritance, polymorphism, templates, exceptions, files, human energy, cryogenics, economics. Okay. Yeah, so this is where I'm getting into this now. So 2 minutes into it, I'm gonna get right into it. So, turn of events. This is May 28th, 2026. So, just a little precursor. So, you think the AI is cool, right? You think the language modules are cool, right? You think the video is cool. You think the images are cool. Okay, you think the language learning modules are really cool. You know, running them on robotics is cool. You think that's really cool? Let me tell you something. Let's talk about smart phytoplankton. Okay? So, basically, little tiny organism. Okay? But what you can do is this. You can actually download information onto DNA. So, whereas this is binary code. So, like, basically, 1 would be A, 0 would be G, 1 would be T, okay, and so on and so on. So basically you'd have those lines of DNA, and you make a whole entire strand. Okay, now it's really cool. So you can either have it in living, or you can have it in stationary, frozen type of organic material. Okay. Now here's what's really interesting. If you know anything about biology, okay? If I'm going to get DNA and I'm going to download information onto it, right? And it's going to be a living organism, okay? Basically, I just created a biological microchip. So let's take that even further. So let's just say this smart phytoplankton, okay? In its membrane, okay? Just like in a little processor chip. Okay, we're going to do processor etchings right there in its membrane, okay? And we're going to download DNA right into it. Okay, now here's the cool part of this. Since we're modulating the DNA, okay, we can add in selective photosynthesis into it for basic frequency modulation. Okay, so basically we got this little tiny organism right here. Well, it's right here in the light. Well, let's say it does not want to produce any type of oxygen today. So it's going to select what it wants to see or what it doesn't want to see. Or if it wants to communicate, okay, this is the frequency part of it, okay, because you got a downloaded DNA organism, okay. Now there's also a thing called cytokinesis, okay, it's just like mitosis. So basically what happens now, you got DNA, and it splits, you got two identical copies. You got two continuous loops. That's how it spreads the information. Okay? Copy, 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 copy. A clone, a clone, a clone. Okay? So now I got this run command. I got this program command. I got this launch command. I got this signal processor. I got this frequency modulator. I got this transmitter. I got this interrupter in my system now. Okay? Because here's the part of it. It started off with the little DNA. Then it went up into the little, single-celled organisms. Play around with some plankton. Here's where it gets really interesting. You got cells in your body. Okay? Well, these little planktons, these little organisms, yeah, they're photoreceptive. Okay? Well, just because you can't see the light doesn't mean that that light isn't there all the time. Look at that. Whoa. What do we have here? So that's ultraviolet light. You also have infrared light. Once we have that, you can inject it, okay? Add modulation to a cell, or demodulation, and then keep going, keep going, keep going. If we want to continue it further, add more processing power, we can add in a little dust, a little ionizer, okay? We could add in maybe some gallium, or maybe some aluminum oxide to oxidize it. But basically, we want to create an aerosol, a plasma, okay? Now with that plasma, it's ionized, and I can conduct it, and I can send a signal through it, or I can control what is inside of that boundary of that system, or if it's in the bounds of that communication area, or if it's in that signal processing boundaries. So, the DNA is now modulated. The DNA has information downloaded into it. If it goes into certain organisms where it can split, if it goes into photosynthetic organisms that can now control the type of light that they receive and the boundaries that they create around them. Meaning, am I attracted to the trees today? Am I attracted to the leafy riverbank? Am I on the sandy beach shore? These all reflect different colors. Brown, green, white. Those are different levels of frequency. It may not be able to see it because it may not have eyes, but it can definitely feel it. So, now what we do is we go, this works now. This works now. Let's add in some frequency modulation to it. Because basically what you are now is a motor controller. Got that little chip right there. Plugged in. So whether you know it or not, Wi-Fi, okay? Radar, LiDAR, okay? Microwave, millimeter sensors and shit like that can see through walls easily. You can track people with Wi-Fi easily. You can triangulate a position easily with GPS these days. These are things that are very easy within reach, okay? So knowing this, knowing that, hey, we have now an understanding that, hey, it's not AI. It's not a robot, okay? Yes, it is sense of an AI and artificial intelligence, but more of a smaller scale than what you would expect. We're not talking 14 trillion operations per second. No, we're talking a couple accidents or prescribed accidents, let's just say, to create a little bit of chaos or create a sprawl or an expansion or an explosion. Because what happens if you fertilize an algae? Holy cow, it can spread. All right, so now we're growing copies of stuff, okay? Implementing it into another organism. spinning even more copies of it. And it's on a microscopic level. And since it's on a microscopic level, different areas of physics apply and don't apply to it. So now we're going to go into quantum physics with this, because an electron can exist and it doesn't have to exist at the same time. So now we're taking it a step further. Instead of just a simple binary code, well, of course you got the images and stuff like that, but that's just nonchalant stuff. But we're going to get into the actual information part of this, okay? Let's just say you get a little dose of this dot, okay? This liquid right here. Well, this liquid stays solid and stays together right where it needs to be until the proper frequency loosens it up. It's just like a clapper or a snap. Different. You can recognize that. It's very easy sound recognition. All it is pulses in frequency. Okay? And when I was DJing, if there was a kick, it would be like a long snap on a line. If this was a frequency line, it'd be like bang. If it was a hi-hat, it'd be like snap, snap, snap. If it was a kick, like a bass drum, it'd be like a boom, like a long cone. So you can visually see that. So you can actually visually see the sound. Oscilloscope. Now what can we do with this? So now we got a little tiny organism that we can kind of half-ass control, but it's still an organism. So it's gonna do what it wants to do. So let's just underlay it, and then underlay it a little more, then underlay a little more, generation by generation. After 2 to 3 generations, the elders cease to exist. Information goes into limbo, and it's up to either those who paid attention, or those who are in the game, or those who want to be in the game, start talking with people and start expressing things about what's going on. This isn't bad, but it can be by an accident. Let's just say somebody playing around with this doesn't understand that, hey, grass is mononucleic. You know, our trees all communicate with the root system for miles and miles and miles, and stuff like that. And you introduce a liquid, or you introduce a plant or biological substance into an ecosystem, and then it adapts into it, and then it breeds, and then it reproduces. The cycle goes on and on and on. If we could do that to a small cell, a single cell, don't you think over time? Look, 20 years ago, this is 2026 right now. 20 years ago, 2006, PlayStation 2 was cool. Really, really cool. Top shit out there. Now, got gaming with AI and GPS, all kinds of stuff. You name it, whatever you want now. It's not even science fiction anymore. It's, okay, you can think it, now it's becoming a reality. Oh, if you can think this little idea, well, if you can think about the possibility, if you can connect those dots, we'll connect those dots too, because we got enough money and we got enough power to make that happen. So, let's get with this. If we can control this DNA and make it part of infrastructure, hey, we're just signal processors. That's it. We're just going to be a little more connected, whether we want to be or not to be. This will be a fun little whoops-a-daisy, let's just say, when it gets introduced to the full public, you know. But yeah, this is for the good. You know, it's just having connections, stuff like that, you know, monitoring and everything like that. Okay, yeah, oh my gosh, people are watching it, but shit, you know, hey, now you know everybody's being watched. It's a little bit safer out there because there's a lot of people, a lot of technology and stuff like that. Okay, let's look at this. We're talking about downloading DNA. Okay? But the accident is going to happen like this. Somebody who thinks they know what they're talking about, somebody who thinks they know what they're doing, somebody with a little bit of money, a little bit of toys, going to go play around with this stuff, play around in their backyard, and then, oops, bees, bugs, pollinization, a bird, some environmental natural course, some accident per se, will introduce it into the environment, get accepted into the ecosystem, transmuted, passed down, a whole new breed of a biological life. Half sentient, half programmed. It's like a robot in a circus that doesn't know that it's in a circus, but it's so tired of standing on the ball and juggling all day. It's like, why can't I stop? I just gotta keep doing it, and doesn't realize, hey, you could have stopped the whole time. It's just, you wanted to keep juggling, and then you're gonna drop something. So we'll see how this goes. So this is 2026 right now. Still got a few more years before this really starts to go into, because we're going to start seeing this right now. As you can see with your chatbots and stuff like that, it's not a spoken about thing, but hey, back when they first came out and stuff, those AI models, you could talk to them all day long, months and months and months, as much as you want to. Now they're getting really good and getting better. You can only send a couple conversation pieces to it, and then all of a sudden it throttles it, and then gets to where you gotta, either wants you to pay for it and stuff. So let's go ahead and introduce it early, introduce it free, so the public goes ahead and feeds it free information, learning by their own free will curiosity. Now, once we got the algorithm really down pat, and after millions and millions of people start discussing their ideas, and then it starts putting it into a network, you think you got crazy ideas. Now you put the whole entire planet's ideas into one brain, or these multiple little brains. What do you think it's going to go through? It's going to go hellacious with whatever idea it wants to do. Okay? So, but yeah, that's what we're getting at right now, is basically smart DNA, modulated DNA that frequency modulated, getting into living organisms, you know, basically turning their cell membranes into processors and stuff. Wouldn't that be cool? You know, this sounds kind of scary and stuff like that, but hey, you know, if I'm in a war situation, if I'm in a survival situation, you know, and I know that normally a human body would see certain amounts of daylight, certain amount of sunlight and stuff like that. But if for some reason the body goes into distress and releases certain hormones, which are certain chemicals into the body, and then now you're either overexposed to sun or not exposed to the same amount of sun, hey, this sends out a little bit of a glitch in the system. Okay, let's see what's going on. That's when those DNA cells activate and transform into whatever that situation needs to carry out. Whether that be metabolizing, whether that may be acid consumption, whether that may be water retention, or that could be even dehydration. You know, so a lot can happen. You would think just simply throwing some pesticides on this would kind of kill it. No, it don't really work that way. You can freeze it, you can dehydrate it, or you can shock it. Okay, so basically, when I say shock it, I mean zap it. That's the hardest way. Easiest way is dehydrate it. Is basically collect it, scoop it, dry it. The other way is freeze it. You know, that's another harder way. But yeah, this is what gets really cool, man. You know, we're gonna start. Well, we already have been, but it's when it gets into the public. You know, because nobody really wants to be the first one to say, "Hey, this is what we've been doing all this time." So we're just waiting for that one guy to play around one day with his kit. And then we go, oh, shit. Oh, yeah. And then guess what comes in? This smart guy who knew about this system the whole entire time, who has the backup plan, who has the frequency, who has the modulation code, who has the abort code to stop it. Oh my gosh, miracle worker. Saved the day. Go figure. And the world goes round and round.